We are the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence, revolutionizing intuition by training spiritually fierce women globally as qualified intuitive guides. Subscribe for the leading research and teachings on the conversation of intuition development.
There we are, we're live on Facebook. Hello, glorious sister Brooke. We are hanging out with the divine Brooke Hunt, intuitive intelligence trainer, intuitive intelligence teacher, postgraduate in the Institute. She is all the amazing things. And she's also your go-to, do you describe yourself as a money mentor or an abundance mentor? Like, what's the language you like to use?
Yeah, I do. Money mentor and financial intuitive. Yeah. So bringing both those aspects of the finances and the intuitive arts and combining those. So yes, you'll see me under financial intuitive, but a money mentor as well.
Yeah, and it's such a powerful combination because we need the 3D and we need the 5D, and you can't, as much as I know most of us would like to just do it at the 5D, spiritual, can't I just meditate on abundance?
Yeah, just do
an accounting software. But you do.
Absolutely. Need both parts.
Yeah, and that is the special magic sauce, that you've got the knowledge in both camps. And I know personally 4,000 women that you have, emancipated from the fear of their own success, and got them over their bullshit, I think, around how they need to show up to this. Like, you really need to show up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember actually Laura Alcaslassi said to me at one stage, the wise, glorious woman said to me, you can sit on your meditation cushion all day, but nothing's going to change. And it's absolutely true. You can sit on your meditation cushion all day, but if you don't take those steps in the 3D as well, nothing's going to change. So you have to face those fears that are holding you back from your success and stopping your abundance. And then you have to go and do the goddamn work to make it happen.
Yeah, I agree. It's like the inspired action. So, if you go into the boardroom with your boss, in our case, our boss is God or infinite consciousness, and you get all the great kind of energy from that leader. And then there's all these actions you have to take when you leave the meeting. If you just put that list down, you're not actually doing the work that you're being asked to do. Yeah. And I think that's the missing link so much, is that we want to feel the good juju and all the great vibes. We don't want to take the inspired action, which is often the shit kicking. And it's okay to do the shit kicking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see so many of my clients, that's where they get stuck. They have these glorious inspired action and this amazing way to bring their service into the world. They're like, but it's not happening. It's not like, but what are you doing? What steps are you taking?
Did you open a bank account?
Yeah.
Have a place for money to come?
Are you welcoming it in? What's that relationship looking like, you and money? Yeah, it is. It's opening that bigger picture and saying, okay, we can have those glorious inspired actions, but now what do we do?
Yeah.
And that still needs to have that relationship with the infinite or God or whatever you're comfortable calling it. You've got to have that trust and faith to be able to also take those steps.
So tell me, what does intuitive intelligence mean to you personally? You've obviously studied it for years now. You are a master of it, but what does it mean? If someone says to you, how do you describe it to them, or how do you describe it to yourself?
It is a way of living. It is not just those fleeting moments of insight that you get. That's what I thought. That's what I thought intuition was before. I thought it was just like, when I had a question, I'd stop and I'd ask and I'd get an answer, and then I could go along my way in my normal muggle 3D life, and that's what intuition was. But intuitive intelligence is a whole different ballgame. It's a whole nother level. It's knowing I have the answer to every question I need, and I have the faith, the trust, that spiritual self-esteem to actually take those steps to do it. It is fully embodying it. It is my way of life. There's no other way of living.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it is that lie we're kind of told about what intuition is, which is something that's there, and then you tune into it and then it goes away again. It's like, no, why would you want it to go away? It's your highest form of intelligence. Like, I want to be in it daily.
Yeah, exactly.
In your life, I love this. It's a little bit, the provocative side of it, but I think it's good for us to talk about it. What have you had to give up in order to live in that embodied state of intuitive intelligence? Like,
oh God,
with you?
Oh God, so much. In the 3D, it doesn't look like my life hasn't changed essentially. Like I still have all the same things I had before I understood intuitive intelligence, but my way of living, who I am as a person, is so vastly different. I've had to give up my bullshit excuses. I've had to give up the reasons why I can't, why I shouldn't, why my life isn't going the way I want it to, because I was very much stuck in, why isn't life why it should be? Why am I living this shitty life and things aren't right?
Yeah.
And I remember coming into the third level with you, and I said to you and every other sister there, I just want God to give me an A4 memo of what I should do with my life, because then, then I'd be happy. And I had to give up that idea that I had, that I didn't have control of what my life was going to look like, because I am the creator of my life. I create my reality, and I had to get rid of all of those stories.
Yeah, I think that's so important, because I am likewise a control freak. And that sense of I'll do whatever I'm being asked to do. I just really need to know in advance what it's going to be, because I don't want that sense of uncertainty. Thank you. If you can just
much more comfy when I have that list and I know exactly what step to take. Yes, having to let go and that surrender. The term surrender I struggled with for so very long, and at times still do, because it is that having to have that trust and faith, and that's what intuitive intelligence gives you. It is that trust and faith and that knowing, and continually meeting what you're coming up against constantly, and having that faith to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the reasons why your work is so important is that you need consistent support and scaffolding to break the addiction to the BS and to the old way of thinking. And when you come into a structured program like yours, you are getting that accountability every week. You have to show up, you have to do the practices. And that is what causes change. It's not a magic bullet. It's not the crystal. It's not the special sage that you burn at nighttime. It's showing up again and again. And as you said, it's not a one-time deal. Like, oh, I got surrender. Now I never have to surrender again. Like,
only.
But what I really love is that you bring it into the coalface for most of us, which is our fear of lack. And when you bring, okay, here's how to live intuitive intelligence into your biggest fear, which for most of us it is, even if we're not necessarily building an empire, we are all working on our money stories in some way or another. And that is the inevitable truth of being alive. That is literally the currency of our life. Yeah. So if you have fear around money or abundance, you are restricting the flow of intuitive intelligence.
Yes.
Everywhere, everywhere. So you can't like be free and easy over here and full of fear over here. And I think we like to think we can leave that out of it. Like, oh, money's dirty. It's not very spiritual.
Yeah.
Other stories. So how do you bring it together? Like, what do you do in your program to kind of bring those two big things into one?
Well, we start with that practice, showing up constantly. I say to my clients every time I run this program, at the very beginning, you're going to hear me say that practice. Like, it is a practice for a reason. You can't just do this once and forget about it, just like you can't do the 10-week program and then at the end think, okay, well, I'm all fixed and I'm happy, I'm good, I'm abundant, I'm all fine. It doesn't work like that, but it is bringing in the trainings with that view of abundance. And your abundant life can be in so many different areas. But it's meeting those fears constantly, because even if we have a look at the collective as a whole, a society as a whole, the messaging that we are being bombarded with constantly is about money is evil. We shouldn't have money. Like, if we want more, then we are actually selfish. And it is having to face all of those fears that are sitting in our subconscious, and we are bombarded with constantly on a conscious level as well.
Yeah. I feel like that metaphor or that motif of money is another way really of talking about personal power. And I know, like me, you serve women predominantly. I'm not sure if you even offer your programs to men. That's
no, only women.
But women and power, like our personal relationship to power. Tell me what you see in your service around women and their power.
I see a lot of shame around it. I see a lot of hiding, of not actually wanting to be that light and to shine, because it's too egoic. It's too much about me, when really I want to help and serve. So surely it shouldn't be about me, but it has to be about us. It has to be, we have to be that light that stands tall, and we need to be unafraid and unashamed to step up, because there is so much shame, so much guilt, and it is understanding where that's coming from, and also understanding we don't need that. We don't have to continue to carry that burden with us. And yeah, it's not wanting to shine our light, being scared to shine, and feeling safer just to hide.
Yeah. And it is the truth that, you know, when we're in lack and survival mode and we aren't abundant personally, it's very hard to feel powerful.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to, you know, to be in abundance and to feel disempowered. So, I mean, you can if you try really hard, but I think that's the beautiful intersection again, is that you invite women to meet their power by getting over their fear of abundance, of money, of all the rest of it, because that lack conversation is also dominant in our world. We're constantly being made to feel like there isn't enough.
Yes.
It's survival of the fittest, and it's competition. And I think what your work does so beautifully is the more success you have, the more you give permission, and energetic permission, not just, you know, here, for someone else to become successful. So it's actually the opposite in our work of the lack mentality.
Yeah, and that's what I talk to my clients and my community about so much, is that exponential growth. That's the difference we can make, which is why I only work with women. Yeah. I hold this vision of women, heart-centered women, holding the majority of wealth in our world. Yeah. Like, just if you stop for a moment and just imagine what that would be like, I get goosebumps every time I think about it. Yes. And that's what I want to see. I want heart-centered women to hold the wealth in the world, and the world would just be a completely different place. Yeah. It absolutely would.
And for me, you know, the success of the Institute has come from being so connected to my intuitive intelligence in those choices that I'm making about how I proceed in my service. And I think when you open to your intuitive intelligence, you don't have that struggle. Yes, you may not get the memo in advance, but you don't doubt when the next instruction lands. And I think that's really vital as well, that faith in oneself. A woman having faith in her own intuitive choices is essential. Yeah.
And I see that again so often. I see women who identify as intuitive and they have this amazing service, but they don't use their intuitive intelligence to bring their service into the world. There is that disconnect between their intuitive intelligence and their right to be abundant, their right to serve, their right to shine. And it's connecting those two, which is what Magnetic Muse is all about, actually understanding how you can use your intuitive intelligence to be that inspired action, to bring that into the world and to change the world, to change your reality and to change that of so many others.
Yeah, amazing. So when does your Magnetic Muse, I know this is the third time you've run it, or is it?
Third time online, and I've done it live as well. So the fourth time in total, and I just adore this program. So mine starts next Wednesday, the 28th, the same as the glorious Kim Ewing. We've been having a bit of a conversation between the two of us. So next Wednesday, but it's for 10 weeks. We go for 10 weeks, and there's an extra couple of modules I've put in there about that intuitive intelligence and bringing that inspired action in, and how to be able to sit in that faith and trust and allow that to be received, and then to take the steps to be able to bring it into reality.
Yeah. So I think, you know, the sense that you obviously serve all women, and you specialize really in that space of getting women over themselves in order to be unafraid to step into their power, to lead, to have the abundance that makes it easy to be the leader. Because if you're in survival mode, you can't think about giving to others. You're constantly in a state of...
You can't. Yeah, you're in that fight, flight, freeze response. You're sitting in fear. And you actually don't have that power you talked about before, because you feel that if I'm sitting in lack, how can I have the power to change anyone else? Yeah. So we have to sit in our power, our abundant power, to be able to have that movement, to be able to bring our service into the world.
Yeah, I love that. So Magnetic Muse is also the prerequisite for the third level. So if there's any women who are considering the third level in July or next January, this program will allow them to have that box ticked. But of course, it's also I think an important preparation ground, because the third level sort of, as you know, doesn't really give you much time to sit in your shit for too long. So if you've done this is like a kind of accelerated boot camp to get you energetically ready and ready to walk into that temple space.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as you say, there's not much room to move in that third level. It's the most glorious program. I tell anyone that will listen, how life-changing it absolutely is. That's why I feel so blessed to be able to provide this prerequisite as the Magnetic Muse. It is such a privilege to be able to do this work, your work. It's so powerful, and getting to combine it with my lens of money, I adore it.
Absolutely. And your energetic signature, and as you say, being the demonstration, you know, seeing that huge growth you've had in your service as you've embodied intuitive intelligence. You know, you're walking your talk, and you're showing people what's possible by showing them your own example. And that's the only way to do it, right? Like, we have to be that embodied example.
Yeah, and we have to be willing. And the reason why so many aren't is because it's that fear. It's because they're not embodying their intuitive intelligence. They perhaps are intuitive, they perhaps have those fleeting moments of intuition, and when those fleeting moments sound good and are the answers that they want, they'll take them. The moments that they're not, they don't. And that's the difference. We have to be willing to follow and allow ourselves to be led where our intuitive intelligence takes us, whether we think in this 3D level it's what we should be expecting or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have really, you know, every opportunity for growth, I've seen you go towards that, and, you know, fearlessly, even if it's a bit like, oh, because it is sometimes, it's like, really?
There's been some shitstorms, I've got to say.
Yeah. But you know that what's on the other side is, now you start to get the evidence. It's like, okay, if I'm willing to have the courage to go where others do not go, what will arrive is that life that I've been calling in. And it is inevitable that we will live in that abundant state of being if we surrender to our intuitive intelligence. So I'm going to make sure everybody has the links to Magnetic Muse. It starts next Wednesday. It is online, assuming that all the details are on the link that you'll share with us. But if you have any questions, you can comment here, or please contact Brooke directly. I'm sure she'll be very happy to answer any questions for you. And it really is the time. I don't know about you, but I feel like the year has only just kind of kicked into gear for me. And it's like, there's still so much opportunity to make the most of 2021.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the time is now. If you've been sitting on the fence looking at these programs, there's no better time or greater time than now. The world is calling out for women to stand and step into their power. It is now.
Yes, I agree, my darling. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know how busy your schedule is, but I'm so glad we got to connect, and we will share the details. Any questions, let us know. And, you know, blessings on the start of the 4th intake. That's a big occasion.
Yeah, I'm very excited and cannot wait.
Awesome. So much love. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Bye.